Call this regular council meeting of December 27, 2016 to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Cabot.
Here.
Dries.
Here.
Halter.
Here.
Hermes.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Walther.
Here.
Moore.
Here. Okay. We have a prayer by Councilman Halter.
Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for seeing us through this previous year and ask your blessing upon all those that have lost loved ones. And we also ask for your grace to be with us in the upcoming year to make wise decisions and that we could serve our community and our neighbors well. In Jesus' name I pray.
Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Minutes of the regular council meeting of November 22nd. There was no meeting or work session on December 13th. Any changes or corrections to the minutes? Okay. Hearing none, the minutes approved. This is the time for residents to comment on matters before council or to ask questions of concern to them. When recognized, please come forward to the lectern, give your name and address, state your comments or questions. Council meetings are tape recorded. For ease of transcription, comments are limited to 3 minutes.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Christmas.
Patricia Bender, 29 Handle Lane. I was watching the November meeting you all had, and I was a little confused and curious, so I thought I might ask a question. I was observing that we had several people in our community, I guess, that got letters in regards to property messes in their yard and that they needed to be cleaned up, and that the individuals, I guess, did not clean them up. So we, as the village, came in and picked up and charged them a fee for cleaning up their yards. Am I correct on that?
Yep.
I think there were 3 of them. One was Gambier, one was Burley, one was, I don't even know what the third one was.
It's mainly grass cutting. So they were issued a citation, didn't do the work. They're given a certain amount of time, and then the village goes in and has the grass cut, and it's assessed on their property taxes.
Okay, so when the people are billed for those costs from the village, if they don't pay that bill, then they're sent to Hamilton County for the property tax people to collect?
Right.
So I'm just wondering, if there are 3 people, not 12, do we as a village approach these people to find out if there's hardship or difficulty or something that we could do to help them rather than to burden them with more costs on us and them?
Well, our costs are factored into the assessment, so it's more than just the actual cost of doing the work.
But do we assess the people to find out if there's hardship or something that?
I know that there's a conversation typically, I think, between Yvonne and the resident or the owner. Oftentimes it's a renter, so it goes to the owner of the building that's responsible. I don't know what the percentage is, but I think it's a pretty high percentage. It's a landlord that's not keeping up with the property more than it is a hardship case. Right. In hardship cases, I know Yvonne has really worked with the individuals.
I'm trying to help them.
And sometimes it's a foreclosed property and the bank owns it.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
And that's
there
probably
was 3 of them.
That's probably more common with foreclosures, or the people have moved out. The property's still in their name. They may have filed bankruptcy, but until that property gets changed from their name.
Okay.
So some years we have a lot, some years we don't have any.
Okay.
But the greatest majority are rental properties, so.
So they're landlords that are delinquent?
And I believe it was 3 different amounts, but it was only 2 properties,
Okay.
if I'm remembering correctly.
Yep.
Okay,
I was
great.
approached one time by a resident that the aunt was having some health issues and so forth, and I told him to go through Yvonne and I called her, I told her what the situation was, and I think they resolved it. I think the main goal is to have it resolved.
Right.
So if we can talk to the person that it's,
Or the people
Owner.
know they can call the
yes.
city
yeah,
manager.
Correct. And that was, two of them have approached me that way, and I have rerouted them through the office. And I knew what the situation was, and I just prepared Yvonne for it, and I said, hey, this is happening, is there anything we can do about it? It's not that they just didn't want to do it, it's just that there was a health problem and finding somebody that will help them
Yes,
out.
right, facility. Okay, well,
Yeah.
great, thank you very much.
Anybody else? Okay, moving on. Reports of village officials. The municipal manager is off tonight. Acting municipal manager, do you have anything?
Yvonne did not give a report to me to pass along.
You don't want to make anything up?
Not particularly.
Okay. Law Director, Mr. Forbes.
Thank you, Mayor. A few weeks back, the General Assembly passed a number of bills right at the end of their session. And a number of those bills got amendments stuck in, and then some amendments pulled back out, and then some more stuck in. Right at the, I say the 11th hour, but it actually was like 3:30 in the morning, I think, on Friday, when they finished that. A number of those bills may or likely will have some impact on local governments, and we're in the process of reviewing those for you right now. One of which that I was asked to look at initially was Senate Bill 235, it was passed. The last I looked, the governor had not yet signed it, but it was passed. It may be of interest to local communities. It, in essence, provides for a new form of property tax exemption that can be used for, it's basically another economic development tool. However, when you read, it takes up about 3 pages of an 80-page bill that has mostly to do with lots of other rock climbing walls. But the part that you might be interested in basically has to do with what they call newly developable property, which is a parcel of property that basically is vacant, doesn't have anything on it, doesn't have any activity happening on it, or what they call redevelopment property. And that's a property that may have a commercial or industrial use on it, or a building on it, but it's currently not being used for that. If the owner of either of those types of properties has a plan to develop it or redevelop it for some commercial or industrial use, they can come and apply to the local government for a property tax exemption to basically say the improvements that they are going to make on the property, you would consider them to be public improvements, in that so that value that they're adding could be exempted. From what I can tell, this is a short-term tax exemption. It cannot last any more than 5 years, and in fact, you can give them the exemption, but then as soon as they get a certificate of occupancy for the building that they've either developed or redeveloped, then the exemption ends. Typically, the way it used to work is you'd have to make all your improvements, and then once the improvements were there, they could see what the new value of the property was. This is, from what we can tell, this is basically a tax exemption, a short-term tax exemption to help the developer through that development period as they are redeveloping the building or building a new building on the property. If it's going to take them a while to construct it, this could give them a short-term exemption during that development period. And then all the normal tools would still be available to you once the building is finished. So it looks like it's a short-term exemption that may help people or spur them to do some development or redevelopment.
But once the certificate of occupancy, the CO is
Then
approved.
this particular exemption ends.
Okay,
And then you have
interesting.
your usual toolbox of other tax abatements.
And it wouldn't apply to expanding a current business
No,
or property?
to qualify, you either have to be a newly developable property, which means it's a property on which no commercial or industrial operations are being conducted, and that you plan on constructing a building. So it's basically vacant property, or redevelopment property, which is where there may be a building, but there can't be anything happening. It's almost like an abandoned building that you're trying to get redeveloped and put back to use. So it's limited in the scope that it has, but it is another tool that may be available.
Habitational would fall under that, perhaps?
What it says is it's focused on commercial or industrial uses. So if it's a residential piece, I don't think it would qualify.
Well, non-owner occupied, I guess, maybe was what I was getting at.
When they talk about commercial or industrial buildings, what they're referring to is whatever is in your local zoning code as commercial or industrial uses.
Okay,
Likely would not include residential.
all right.
But again, we're also still, it's all brand new to all of us, so we'll see how the county auditors respond to this about what they might let through for the exemptions.
Okay.
So that's that one, and we'll, of course, watch it to see when it's signed and has an effective date. And then we're also watching some others that had to do with changes to the concealed carry law, changes to cell tower, small cell facility regulations, and a few others. So we'll keep you posted on those. But other than that, that would conclude my report.
All right, Clerk of Council, Catherine Lives.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The December 2016 Community Calendar and Ordinance number 2016-08 LNR and Resolution numbers 2016-29F, 30 SNS, and 31 TNS were posted as required. If there are no questions, that would conclude my report.
Okay. Hearing none, Chief of Police, Neil Fertelman.
Thanks, Mayor. I wanted to mention that retired Springdale Police Chief Mike Laggy, who's been retired now a number of years, jumped to the assistance of Corporal Brian Johnston on one of our streets last month. Corporal Johnson was struggling with a person who had some mental issues, who was being arrested, and was resisting quite strongly. And Chief Laggy immediately went up and was able to help secure this individual, and they were able to get him handcuffed. So it's rare to see somebody come to put themselves in harm's way. And of course, he still has retained his training, but we sent him a letter of commendation for his actions. On December 1st, Rob White did resign as a Greenhills officer and went on to become a Cincinnati police officer. That left us one officer short. We do have an applicant that is completing his medical exam and drug screen this week, and we will be offering him employment contingent upon his successful completion of these exams. Also on December 1st, thanks to the work of our municipal manager and our finance director and the approval of council, we were able to get rid of a very unreliable cruiser and replace it with a new Ford Crown, or a new Ford Interceptor. It replaced the Crown Vic, and that car had about 120,000 miles on it. We think the odometer wouldn't light up anymore. But we're very happy to have a very reliable cruiser, and we thank council for your actions in allowing that to happen. We do have 2 applicants for our winter Citizens Police Academy. I have to note we have 2 graduates right here, so always happy to see them. But if anyone is listening to this broadcast and would like to apply, we have our applications online, or they're also in our lobby. We're going to need several more to make that academy viable. If we do receive enough, we plan on starting that in mid-February. We were privileged to partner with the Forest Park Police Department to our north with the Shop with the Cop program. Our officer, Zach Clark, participated and made 8 children's Christmas a little brighter with some of the goodies that were purchased for them. During the month of November, our last full complete month to report to you, we investigated 5 accidents and 6 crimes. Those numbers were the same as the previous year. 325 other incidents. We made a total of 796 contacts. Some of those were self-initiated, 526 of them by officers. and that was up significantly from 411 the same time period last year. We provided assistance to the public in 99 instances, assisted other agencies 25 times. We made 34 criminal arrests and 107 traffic arrests. And I suppose our most notable activity was our reaccreditation on-site assessment by 2 law enforcement professionals from the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies. They were here from the 12th through the 14th of this month, and it was a very serious assessment. They seemed to examine every nook and cranny, and we did make some changes at their suggestions, but during their exit briefing, they reported their findings to us that will be relayed to the full commission, that they found us in full compliance with all applicable standards and will recommend our reaccreditation to the commission when they next meet in March in Mobile, Alabama. So we made it through because we've got a great staff of police officers. We have a community that supports us, and my hat is off to those of you who have been on council or have been involved for a while that insisted on this program about 10 years ago, and it sets us aside to a level of excellence that I think this community deserves. So those that were involved, we thank you for your foresight, and I'm very proud of the members of our department that made this happen. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Any questions, comments of the chief?
Chief, have you considered putting an article in the Greenhills Journal about the citizens class and the dates when they start and so forth to try to get the people a little bit geared towards February?
I have to confess to you that we've been a little backed up with other things, but that's
I
an
figured.
excellent idea, and I will make that happen. Thank you.
And put a kind of like something, little stars or something so people would know that it's a different.
I like it.
Just one other comment. I think people are aware that there was 2 teenagers, I believe it was 2 teenagers
Yes,
hit
Forest Park,
in Forest Park. I drop my wife off up there pretty often, and one morning I came up there, and the person it was a younger individual, had dark clothes on, and it is, raining out. It is very difficult to see somebody. As much as you want to respect people's space and everything, if you don't see them, it's really hard to know. So it seems, just given some of the incidents that happened this past year, just if you're walking, if you're running, reflective clothes go a long way, light-colored clothes go a long way. Don't assume people can see you, because people have a lot on their mind, and you combine weather, a little bit of darkness, and it's much more difficult than it appears. So hopefully.
Good point. We'll put a note on our website to that effect as well.
Okay, moving on, the mayor's report. I have court receipts for the month of November. The county received $66. The state received $1,840, and the village of Greenhills received $8,206 for a grand total of $10,112. Also, the library had their grand reopening on the 22nd of December, and it was well attended. I encourage everyone to partake in visiting the library and taking advantage of our library. And we had quite a turnout. We had a little extra spark that the Naked Cowboy showed up to express his interest and love of our library, and it seemed to have went over quite well. A lot of people were getting photographs with him and everything, so it was a nice event. Also, we have the mayor's Christmas or holiday lighting awards completed, and a good group of mayors actually. So it's more than just the mayor's award. Aki Hoffman and Fred Merle, along with the 2 Jeffs here, went out and did the Christmas lighting for me, since I ended up having something that came up quickly involving a grandson.
But you had to sign them all.
I had to sign them all, yes. So writer's cramp yesterday for that. And I wanted to make one other comment when we were talking about the assessments the village does for, mainly for cutting grass. And for people to be aware, if you're buying a property, double check and make sure there aren't liens against the property or assessments. A number of years ago, when I was the manager here, we had a house on Gambier. The people moved out. It stayed in their name for quite a while, but the bank had taken it over and not changed the people's names. And I think we had to cut the grass through the whole summer. And with the bank getting notifications telling them they needed to do this, it was an out-of-town bank, they never bothered, and that's typical of a number of banks and situations where we run into this. And then the bank ended up getting the name back into the banks, and then they sold it to somebody. And the new people that bought that property came in and were all concerned because I think it was like $400 and some worth of assessments on their property for grass cutting. And they were unaware of it. And their title company that did the mortgage for them didn't pick up that this assessment had been recorded at the county offices. And there was nothing we could do about it. You know, we couldn't forgive it, and it had already gone through the courts, and the problem was with the bank and their title company. And of course, they ended up fighting a losing battle with the bank. But it's something that people need to be aware of, that some of these banks aren't the most up-and-up facilities that we have around the country. All right, moving on. Recreation Cable TV, Maria Walther.
Hi. I received an email from Doug Kohler, and he says that the final positions for the Recreation Commission are ending on January 2017. And there are three that are interested into reappointments. That is Doug Kohler, Sean Patterson, and Alexis Owen. Now, there's one that there's going to be an opening that it will be starting in January 17th, but it's to fill a remainder of somebody's term. So, in other words, it will run from January 2017 to January 2019. I don't know if you received a copy of it, but I have some of the applications in here. And there was a question, and that's probably for our law director, that in order not to have problems with the attendance and the quorum and so forth, this is a particular couple that are really willing to share the responsibility, so when the husband will not be there, that she would be there, etc., but she will not take part of the vote. So they just wanted to make sure that the meeting will go on forward and not being canceled 2 or 3 times. And I told them that this is something that had to be passed through you and see if that's viable.
So you're saying that if the appointed person can't attend, the spouse would attend, hopefully to make the quorum?
Yes.
Yeah, that, I don't think that could.
That's not going to.
No, you have to, the quorum has to be made up of the actual.
Of the actual
members
appointed.
Yes.
Okay. And
The spouse is welcome to attend if they have a quorum, just like anybody would be welcome to attend, but they can't.
all right.
It would have to be voting members.
Yeah, the purpose of having a quorum is in case they need to vote and take action, so.
Well, could they also meet, like sometimes when I don't have a co-chair or something, I'm meeting with the staff, if they can meet with the staff and just not vote on anything, just to continue and be able to discuss and plan something and carry on,
Sure.
continuous on
The
that?
appointed members can, yeah.
Okay, all right, the appointed members can. Okay,
All right, and so,
All right.
yeah, and get copies for me, because
okay.
I've not received copies of
All
those.
righty, I have it right in here. Also, we also have an opening on the Planning Commission due to the death of one of the members, and also on the Board of Zoning Appeals. So anybody that has some interest to participate and help on both of those tasks, please apply. The application is online. If you don't have a means to get to it, call me, find me, I'll make you a copy. I think that this is the time that everybody needs to pull it together and take a part of the village.
Okay, and actually on the zoning board and the planning commission, I have somebody I plan to appoint the meeting in January.
Okay. So there's no openings then per se for anybody else to apply?
I think there may be an additional one on the zoning board.
Okay. All righty.
I'll be moving somebody from the zoning board to the planning commission.
Okay. And I just became involved with a conversation with, thank you. Excuse me. With two different entities that sent me an email that I will pass forth to Mr. Cavode and to Mr. Mayor. And this is a new company in town that one of the companies, the only thing they do and create is doggy parks. And the other one, the only thing that they do and create is pocket parks. So I will send you the information forward, and if you want me to, I also can send it to the village manager as well.
Right, she should have it.
Okay. And also, we're planning to have a recreation commission meeting at 7 p.m., January the 5th. And we are trying also to have a recreation committee meeting at 6:30 prior to the commission, so we can just continue on and discuss. In a future time, I think we need to bring forth to the council our plans of for the year where we are planning on
Retreat.
doing it. Yeah, the retreat. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. All right. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, intergovernmental affairs, laws and rules, Jack Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The December 19th meeting was canceled due to scheduling issues. The committee will reconvene on January 16th, Monday at 4 p.m. And we will be taking up, retaking up the issue concerning the concerns with EMF, electromagnetic fields, and any other topic that should come up for our committee. That's it.
Okay. All right, Service and Streets, Jeff Cabode.
Nothing to report at this time. However, we do have our next Streets and Services meeting scheduled for Monday the 16th at 5 p.m. to discuss any matters that would come before the committee.
Okay. Community Development, Jeff Halder.
Yes, we have established a calendar for the upcoming year, March, for community development meetings, March 14th at 5:15 p.m., June 13th at 5:15, and September 12th at 5:15 p.m. And that was given in light of the retreat that we're assuming will be happening. Has that date been selected?
Okay.
That's all I have at this point.
Melanie, Safety.
The Safety Committee, tentative meeting possibly on January 24th at 5:15. That would be prior to our work session. I just need to double check with staff on their availability. Otherwise, we have nothing else to report. Congratulations to the police department and Chief Futterman for the reaccreditation, and we are proud of them.
And also the fire truck, I think, got ordered. That we passed in the last meeting. Okay, Finance and Audit, Mr. Dries.
This isn't really finance or audit, but it's kind of my bailiwick. I just want to thank everyone that helped or participated in Light Up Greenhills. Special appreciation to our service department led by Mike Castor. We don't officially take attendance, but I gotta believe that we had more people there this year than ever before, so it was great to see everyone in the community out. Great event, and thanks to everyone that helped. And I'm pleased to say that the list of people helping is getting so large that I cannot remember everyone and wouldn't dare try to do it off my memory. So you know who you are. Thank you very much. I will have a kind of a community report on how we finished 2016. We have a couple of little things to do tonight to, from an appropriation standpoint, to finish the year, but it was, we have a conservative budget that actually is a little scary because we submit it in July and it doesn't end till 18 months later, so it's difficult to have a great crystal ball. We have a fairly conservative approach to both spending and income. I always try to push the income side. I think it's the sales guy in me, and it's a discussion between the manager, the finance and audit committee, and Matt, our chief fiscal officer, and they pull the reins in. I'm always glad that we exceed the revenue projections, and we did this year, so that's good. And so we'll have a more detailed report, but just really proud of the people in the village that spend our tax dollars like they were their own, and do such a good job with our finances. So we'll have a full report in at the appropriate time. I have 4 pieces of legislation tonight.
I do, if I could add on to your opening comment, I'd like to thank Mike Castor and his team. They did a really excellent job. I know every year he tries to take it one step farther. I think that just the detail and wrapping the lights around the trees, the snowman on the slide at the pool, behind Destiny's Catering looks really nice with those trees back there. They did a fantastic job, and also would like to thank my wife who baked 280 gingerbread cookies, and that'll give you some kind of count. Most kids receive 1. They were either going to be ornaments or 8 at the time, and I'm pretty sure most of them didn't make it home. But I just want to thank her and also all the other volunteers that helped during that event. It was really, really a special thing. Thanks. Oh, one other question while I'm on the topic. The Christmas trees, someone asked me about when you can put those out. Is there?
Every Monday
Okay.
for a brush collection,
Okay, so it doesn't matter.
when the
Thank you.
chipper goes around, yep. And sometimes the chipper doesn't always make it every Monday. You might get picked up on Monday, and the neighbor on the other side of town, not until the next day.
Thank you.
Okay, on new business, and Maria, do you want to make a motion at the end of this new business to reappoint those 3 people on the Recreation Board? For the 3 people who want to be reappointed, are interested?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, I can do
Let's-
that.
May as well go ahead and do
I
that
can do
now.
that, no problem.
Okay. All right, we first have Resolution 2016-32, awarding the 2017 insurance coverage resolution. Mr. Dries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2016-32F, resolution awarding the 2017 insurance coverage brokered by USI Insurance Services, LLC, whereas the Village of Greenhills must have continuous insurance coverage and has been presented with an acceptable insurance proposal from USI Insurance Services, LLC, for 2017 coverage. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, State of Ohio, Section 1, that the insurance policies brokered by USI Insurance Services, LLC, for the issuance of automobile general liability, police professional liability, public officials liability, property insurance, and other insurance as determined by the municipal manager in the name of the Village of Greenhills are hereby accepted at a cost to the village in an amount not to exceed approximately $60,000. A copy of the proposed policy is on file with the municipal manager. Section 2. that the municipal manager is hereby authorized and directed to execute any and all documents necessary to implement said coverage. Section 3, that the finance director is hereby authorized and directed to make payment to USI in an amount not to exceed approximately $60,000 for 2017 coverage. Section 4, that USI is hereby authorized to render professional consultation with respect to insurance coverage for 2017. Section 5, that this resolution shall be in full force and take effect from and after its passage. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of Resolution 2016-32F.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 2016-32F. Any comments or questions?
I just have one question. The amount of 60,000, does that come out of this year's budget, or will that be paid calendar year next year?
That'll be coming out of the 2017 budget.
So it doesn't get paid till next year?
Correct.
Okay.
And that amount relative to what we paid last year is?
Oh, thank you for that question.
I'm-
Last year was a painful renewal, and I just thought we didn't get as good a deal as we should have gotten. That was clearly communicated. So, we are going to see $13,765 in savings.
Wow.
And several things happened with our coverage, and I'm just going to hit a few highlights. One of the things, our total insured values last year was about $8.2 million. This year it's $6.3. So when we get rid of rental properties and we get out of the business, that helps both our property as well as our liability. We broadened some coverages and more clearly defined that we wanted coverage on traffic lights and traffic control boxes and golf course sprinkler systems. We've made some fairly substantial investments in some of those things, and they weren't necessarily being insured. And some of them might say, how expensive could a traffic control box be? Well, some of them are getting up in the $75,000 range. So we clearly wanted that. Or someone would say, what can happen to a golf course sprinkler system? It's underground, no one's going to steal it, it's not going to catch on fire or whatever. But the coverage, the cost for either theft of that, vandalism, or earthquake was literally pennies, and so we added that. We added some cyber liability coverage. If you spend 15 minutes reading the newspaper in a day's time, you can see all the companies that have been hit with it, and public entities are being hit. And we do have personally identifiable information. We have personal health information of people. One of the things that was painful for us last year was on the liability side. Our loss history has improved, and we were able to reduce the liability deductible for our law enforcement coverage, as well as our public officials liability coverage and our employment practices liability from $10,000 to $5,000. So we cut our liability cost in half. We have some newer vehicles that typically would drive up the cost a little bit, so we got some savings on the rate on the auto side. So all in all, we had better loss experience. We broadened our coverage. We reduced our limit, and we just got a better deal in the marketplace. And the marketplace is tending towards lower rates for commercial insurance in general. So good job done by the staff as well as our broker at USI.
Okay. Clerk, call the roll.
Cavode,
Aye.
Dries,
Aye.
Halter,
Aye.
Hermes,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Walther,
Aye.
Moore,
You can't vote.
No.
Vote. He's not voting.
Stop the deck.
Okay, Resolution 2016-32, the village insurance passes. Okay, the next resolution, 2016-33-F, adopting a 2017 Greenhills fee schedule.
Resolution 2016-33F, resolution adopting a 27 Greenhills fee schedule. whereas the village has determined that it is necessary to assess certain fees, assess fees for certain services, and whereas the council has determined it is necessary to update the current fee schedule, now therefore be it resolved by the council of the village of Greenhills, Ohio, section 1, that the council of the village of Greenhills hereby adopts the fee schedule as set forth in Exhibit A, attached hereto, incorporated herein by reference, section 2, that this resolution shall be in full force and take effect immediately upon passage. Mr. Mayor, I move for this resolution adoption.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, any questions or comments?
Yeah, Matt, are you aware of what's different, if anything, from the previous fee schedule?
The only change in it is there is now a minimum $50 fee for a 30-day period for peddlers and solicitors. Other than that, it is exactly the same as 2016.
So go to the pool, go to the golf course, use Spoils Field, it won't cost you more.
Okay, clerk call the roll.
Dries,
Aye.
Walter,
Aye.
Hermes,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Walter,
Aye.
Vogt,
Aye.
Okay, resolution 2016-33-F, amending the fee schedule, passes. Okay, resolution 2016-34-F, making supplemental appropriations and transfers. Mr. Dries.
Resolution 2016-34F, resolution making supplemental appropriations, whereas the 2016 annual appropriations that were adopted on December 8th, 2015 are to be amended, and whereas appropriations must not exceed total available resources of the village per Ohio Revised Code, Section 5705.36A5. Therefore, an amended certificate of estimated resources has been requested from the County Budget Commission. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, since certain actions are needed in the monies appropriated so to permit the Village of Greenhills to meet its fiscal obligations, the following items are to supplement the appropriations for expenditure for the year 2016. Fund 1000, General and Mayor and Administrative Other, prior appropriation $98,610, change in appropriation $40,765, total revised $139,375. Fund 1000, General Lands and Buildings, Personal Services, prior appropriation $129,700, appropriation change $1,730, total revised $131,430. Fund 1000, General Capital Outlay, prior appropriation $27,879, appropriation change $76,000, total revised $103,879. Fund 2910, Banquet Hall Personal Services, prior appropriation $5,000, appropriation change reduction $1,800, total revised $3,200. Fund 2910, Banquet Hall, prior appropriation $36,415, appropriation change $1,800, total revised $38,215. Section 2, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after the earliest date allowed by law. Mr. Mayor, I move for the resolution, the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Pass resolution 2016-34-F. Comments, questions?
No, just
Clarification.
question before the difference on the appropriation on the fund 1000. It seems like there was a change in there, a significant change there that was planned, and then also on the other 1000 general capital outlay, I noticed that from 27,000 that was previously, now is 76,000. What do we owe that?
In the mayor and administrative line, the $40,765, that is to record the cable franchise fees.
Okay.
That's paid directly to Waycross. That's going to be a net zero transaction. We're going to record the expense and a receipt at the same time. It's just to show that pass through onto the books. In the capital outlay line, the $76,000 is for the streetlights that will be going around the shopping center, that's one in the cut. 36,000 of that is for the lights themselves, and additional 40,000, excuse me, is for the power supply for the lights to run underground.
And if you'll notice, if you go behind the shopping center, the new lights are in behind the center now. And they're LEDs, and they eventually will pay for themselves in reduced electric costs to the village and rentals, since we bought the lights. But I don't remember what the total savings was now, but Yvonne has that somewhere. So 10 years, 20 years, we'll get our money all back. Hopefully. Okay. Clerk, call the roll.
Halter,
Aye.
Hermes,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Walther,
Aye.
Gabode,
Aye.
Reese,
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2016-34-F passes. Next resolution, number 2016-35-F, resolution approving the annual permanent appropriations for 2017.
Mr. Mayor, this is a resolution to make permanent appropriation for current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Greenhills, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2017, pursuant to Exhibit A, permanent appropriation for 2017 attached hereto, and by reference made a part hereof. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, State of Ohio, that to provide for the current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Greenhills during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2017, the following sums be, and they are hereby set aside and appropriated as follows, namely, Section 1, that there be appropriated from the general fund $2,161,575. Section 2, that there be appropriated from the special revenue funds $1,549,365. Section 3, that there be appropriated from the debt bond retirement fund $547,575. Section 4, that there be appropriated from the special assessment fund $50,000 for a grand total of $4,308,515 for all funds. Section 5, and the village finance director is hereby authorized to draw warrants for payments from any of the foregoing appropriations upon receiving proper certificates and vouchers therefore, approved by the board or officers authorized by law to approve the same, or an ordinance or resolution of council to make the expenditures, provided that no warrant shall be drawn or paid for salaries or wages except to persons employed by authority of and in accordance with law or ordinance. Section 6, and any necessary changes to be made to the appropriations below the legal level of control can be made by the finance director with the approval of the municipal manager. Any changes to the appropriation at or above the legal level of control require village council approval. Section 7, this ordinance shall take effect immediately upon passage. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of Resolution 2016-35F.
Second it?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded.
Let me make a few comments.
Okay.
In July of 2016, we passed a budget that was $4.6 million. This appropriation in total is $4.3 million. So we are appropriating less than what was budgeted. This is the expenses that we anticipate in 2017. There are some numbers in this budget that are slightly different. I'm going to go to the general fund expense total for 2017 of $2,161,575. Our budget was $2,193,000, so we are appropriating less than what budget, and this appropriation is based on projected expenses. And what I said earlier, we're in July of one year projecting a year's worth of expenses starting 6 months after we pass this budget, so things change. For example, we bought a police cruiser that was previously mentioned, and so there's an increase in the transfers out. We received a grant for some capital outlay for a restroom at the golf course area, and so we have more income coming in because of the grant, but we've got a $78,000 capital outlay, and in the budget it was $20,000, and so we've increased it to now $98,000. In the tax budget, about every 5 years, we have to update the computers in the police cruisers. And after the budget process, we were informed by the county that your 5 years is up. And it's about every 5 years, so that was an additional $18,000 for computers in the cruisers. So that was changed. We found out that we needed some additional maintenance. We do this budget in July, and by the end of the summer, we found out we needed some increased maintenance at the swimming pool, so we had to increase that by $22,000. But all in all, we're appropriating less than it was budgeted, and I think that if the past is any indication of what will happen in 2017, the finance officer as well as the municipal manager won't spend the money even though it's appropriated if we don't need to. So those are some highlights. If somebody has some specific questions, either I will answer them or I will defer to the finance director.
Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Hermes?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Walther?
Aye.
Cavode?
Aye.
Breeze?
Aye.
Halter?
Aye.
Okay, Resolution 2016-35-F passes. And have a motion, have Maria make a motion to reappoint three members.
I move to reappoint on the following positions on the Recreation Commission, Doug Caller, Sean Patterson, and Alexis Owen.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. All right, calendar.
Question, the date for the organizational meeting is the first meeting in January?
Yeah.
Yes.
First meeting or the 10th?
Or-
The work session date or the meeting date?
I don't know, any,
I think it's got to be a work
I
session.
think
Well,
I think it has to be
It's
a
at the
10th.
work session.
Yeah.
I mean, Yvonne had asked me about that, and I think she's planning on it being at your first, at the work session.
Mhm.
Okay.
On the 10th, okay.
Yes.
Monday, January 16th at 4 PM, Laws and Rules.
Tuesday, January 24th at 5:15, safety.
March, I don't know if you want the out-ahead schedule of community development. but-
just wait till the next, till we get closer.
Okay.
Just make sure Yvonne gets it to put it online.
Sure.
Okay.
January the 5th, the Recreation Committee and the Recreation Commission, 6:30 and 7 respectively.
Streets and Services, Monday the 16th at 5 PM.
All right, anything else? And one comment, when we mentioned that if somebody is interested in serving or volunteering on any committees, they can go ahead and fill out an application, but they can also talk to me, and we can discuss various potential positions before filling out the form. All right, call for adjournment?
So moved.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.